Hello, and welcome to another season of Greatest Scene Ever. I'm Greg, and he's Kylos, just two professors here at American University talking film, and in our beautiful new media lab here at the McKinley building.
Yeah, this is our first time in a brand new School of Communication building, the McKinley building, and it's
Media
called
Innovation.
the Media Innovation Lab.
Right.
Yes.
And this is where we hold classes and do shows like this. So we brought in I think this is our 7th season of Greatest Scene Ever. We're moved over to a new facility and thrilled about it. So in Greatest Scene Ever, we explore film through a series of genres, then we break down why certain scenes are truly great.
That's right. And today we're going to take a look at some troubled cops. When not bringing criminals to justice, our characters today spend their time struggling with other conflicts. Whether a struggle with authority, morality, or their own inner demons, we love seeing these tough guys shoot, yell, and quip their way across our screens.
Yes, indeedy. Coming up is a dirty cop with a heart of gold in the classic film Casablanca. While it's not really a cop film itself, his dubious behavior, mixed with the timeless charm of Claude Rains, as Louis, makes him our first choice for today. So let's take a look at Casablanca.
Laszlo's presence in a cafe can inspire this unfortunate demonstration. What more will his presence in Casablanca bring on? I advise that this place be shut up at once.
But everybody's having such a good time.
Yes, much too good a time. The place is to be closed.
But I've no excuse to close it.
Find one.
Sortez, monsieur.
Sortez.
Everybody's to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once.
How can he close me up? On what ground?
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
So anyway, so here's Casablanca. I love that scene. It's a scene which is timeless. It was, I think, the 16th most quoted movie line in one of those AFI polls, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about it, especially for those of us here in Washington, is that it's a line which really carries over to politics, carries over to a lot of other sort of areas. It's become kind of a catchphrase.
Sure.
Which basically means that, I know I'm kind of doing wrong. And I remember it during the Clinton years with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and there were congressmen and senators up on the Hill who were shocked. Shocked, I tell you, that there's sex going on in the White House, and then we found out that a lot of these guys who were all indignant were actually having their own indiscretion, shall we say. So it's typical in politics, and that's both Democrat and Republican. But here in the film world, it's a great opening scene as an introduction to Louis, even though this isn't the introductory scene, but really in sort of an introduction into the sort of the depth of the character, the duality that he has.
Right. Well, it's a good scene that kind of encompasses who Louis is.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to actually shut the place down. He's on Rick's side in his heart, no matter what. And, he's sort of the buffer between the Gestapo, the Vichy government, and his people who, he's got this sort of connection with Rick, which, we've discussed off camera before, but this film, the relationship between Rick and the love interest, Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman, is sometimes overshadows how important the relationship between Louis, our corrupt cop for the day, and Rick is. That's really the motivating, that sort of pushes through a lot of the plot, a lot of the conflict, and those are the two people who change.
Right.
Which is why we're left with them at the end.
Right. And so this relationship, as you said, between Bogart and Ingrid Bergman as Rick and Ilsa, that's kind of supposed to be sort of the A story, if you will, and the story with Louis is kind of the B story, but it's really the B story that you remember a lot of these things, and right up until and including the last line of the film.
Right.
Yes. Louis, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship as they walk off, and so as you said, the Louis character is used by the filmmakers as a way of moving the narrative forward and to sort of say, this is where we are right now.
Right.
And this is what Casablanca is all about. We really get a sense of what Casablanca is all about, which is that duality that I talked about earlier. That's really sort of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and to throw on top of that, I think that they save a lot of the best lines, or maybe it's not even that the best lines, it's just that Claude Rains delivers them so
Yeah.
beautifully,
Yeah.
which is kind of a theme through the entire film because, in my opinion, and I may not make the most popular statement here, but I don't think it's a very strong script overall. I think the real saving
We
grace
will
of this
agree to
film
disagree on that.
is
That's-
I think it's a little bit point-by-point formulaic ABC filmmaking. No
maybe,
offense.
yeah.
However, the
Not taking
reason
it, I didn't
and
write
they
it.
didn't expect this film to do that well.
Yeah.
They didn't really think much of it at the
Yeah.
time. They knew they had some star power, but they weren't thinking that it was going to like
Yeah.
become this iconic
Yeah.
for all time. Even if you haven't seen Casablanca, you've seen Casablanca.
Yeah.
Because every line in it, every scene in it has been recreated
So iconic.
so many times.
So
But
iconic.
what my point is, in particular, we're talking about Claude Rains brings Louis to life in such a pitch perfect way.
Yeah.
I think the whole movie rests on the fact that it has across the board fantastic actors bringing these characters to life in a three-dimensional way, right down to the most minor character, the bartender.
The bartender, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the girl who gets in
Sasha.
trouble and is trying to get her
Yes.
her husband, and they win at the table and stuff
Exactly.
like that, and take the money and off you go and things like that. And that's where the Rick character is most pivotal, because Casablanca is in fact, there's a line in it, and I won't quote it because I will misquote it, but the gist is Louis says that Casablanca is a place of shifting morals and shifting moralities, and it blows whichever way the wind blows. There's something about the wind right now blows from Vichy, or
Right,
it's
that's
something
right,
like
that's
that.
right.
So he sort
Yeah.
of talks about the duality, and that duality that he explains to the audience is the duality that he himself defines who he is, which is, I'm the boss, I'm the top cop here in Casablanca, and yet I still have to answer to Major Strasser, who's the Nazi, the new Nazi in town. And Louis is kind of like the guy who's in a government job, in a department, at a fairly high level, who's been there forever.
Right.
Who's been there forever
It's just-
and just stays there. The top administration changes with each president that comes in. There's a new secretary of this or that. But the people really make the department run. Those are the people that sort of move from administration to administration. Again, Washington parallel here at American University. But that's very much what Louis is. He is a product of Casablanca.
Yes.
Casablanca defines him and defines the film itself. So that's all the time we have for now. Check out our other episodes on troubled cops in our web series.
And be sure to watch the full-length versions of these films. These scenes are great, but they're always better in context.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next time on Greatest Scene Ever.